What is up, Earthnoids, Spacenoids, and everything in between? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are back at UC0083 as we learn more about Operation Stardust. In our last video through Stardust Memory, we learned about Ko Uraki and the Albion. Anavel Gato snuck into Torrington Base and stole the Gundam GP02, a mobile suit with nukes. In this episode, we will learn about the Chima Fleet and more about remnants of Zeon. So let's get into this. The Albion has been flying through East Africa for about a week now. The crew and its pilots aren't getting along. They are still a new crew. The Albion gets a message from Jaburo suggesting that if they can't retrieve the GP02, then perhaps they should destroy it. Ms. Purpleton doesn't like this decision. The crew bickers about how Jaburo is just afraid of the GP02 firing the nuke on them. Captain Sinopus brings order to the crew. While arguing on the bridge, Ko returns from scouting Kilimanjaro and the Core Fighter II. The FF-12 Core Fighter II has improved aerodynamics over the original Core Fighter. The Core Fighter uses the GP01's beam sabers as a ranged beam weapon. Also, the thrusters on the Core Fighter are used when attached to the GP01 instead of being dead weight when attached. Bernard Monsha sabotages Ko's landing and does everything to get on Nina's bad side. During the 1-year war, a commander by the name of Nguyen Bitter retreated into an abandoned diamond mine in East Africa. They remained there for the past 3 years in hiding. Anavel Gato shows up to the mine and receives warm welcomes in his GP02. Bitter tells Gato that he only has 10 working mobile suits currently. He will do everything he can to get Gato to the rendezvous point and tells Gato that he has one remaining HLV that he could use. He says he will do anything to bring forth the glory of Zeon once again. Now, what is an HLV? HLV stands for Heavy Lift Vehicle or Vessel. During the landing operations of the 1-year war, the Principality of Zeon used HLVs to transport things between low Earth orbit and the Earth. Check out our hidden 1-year war video that shows HLVs in action post-Odessa. Keith runs into Blau Engel, who happens to be the spy on board the Albion. He helped sneak Gato on board the Albion, but he left a paper on the ground when bumping into both Lieutenant Burnern and Keith. Burnern finds the paper and realizes he is a spy. Since he is found out, the spy runs and steals the Core Fighter II. They expect that the Core Fighter will lead them in the direction of the GP02. Monsha, Keith, and Ko launch. The Core Fighter runs into Zaku's, but it just shoots down the Core Fighter. Well done. Commander Bitter's plan is to have the base surrender once Gato leaves Earth atmosphere in the HLV. He gets in his mobile suit. The Albion team follows the Zaku's, only to find themselves ambushed. The Albion decides to send out Bait and Adele. The Albion, Adele, and Bait run into the remaining Zeon remnants mobile suits. They engage in battle. Ko goes in with the GP01 and takes out the 2 Zaku's, giving the team a chance to escape. While fighting the Zeon mobile suits, they find the mine. Suddenly, they are flanked from the side. It is Ko, Keith, and Bernard Monsha coming in with the flank. Suddenly, the HLV takes off. They are too late. It is at this moment that Commander Bitter goes in and tries to destroy the Albion. However, Ko is able to take him down before destroying the ship. On the Albion, everyone is bummed that they failed the mission of capturing the GP02. The remaining Zeon remnants at the mining base surrenders. Up in orbit, Anavel Gato is meeting up with 2 Salamis-class ships that are currently fighting with the Fetties. The Albion makes its way into orbit and waits for Fetty ships to arrive. They are disappointed when they only find 2 ships. It seems they can only rely on Admiral Cohen at the moment. The Chima Fleet comes in and forces the Salamis off course a little bit. The Chima Fleet is the remainder of the Mobile Assault Unit that was originally under command of Rear Admiral Kaiselia Zabi. The fleet consists of a Zanzibar II, 5 Musai-class ships, and a few Papua-class ships. At the Garden of Thorns, Anavel Gato finally meets up with Commander Delaz. When meeting with Delaz, Chima enters the room. Chima leaves quickly to handle an oncoming Fedi fleet. Gato is concerned that Delaz puts too much trust into Chima. Meanwhile, Nina takes a real right turn after talking to Mora and is mean to Ko. Both Ko and Nina were working together on an algorithm for the Gundam, so this turn is just for the plot's sake, it seems. Suddenly, the alarms go off. Chima's Zanzibar 2 launches mobile suits to attack the Albion. Keith and Monsha launch. Suddenly, a message is broadcasted to the Albion and most of the world and sides. It is Delaz. Delaz and Gato stand in front of the GP02 as they declare war on the Earth Federation once again. Essentially, in his speech, Delaz states that the Republic of Zeon faction that signed the Granada Treaty were cowards that don't represent the true Principality of Zeon. Delaz also shows off the GP02 to show that the Earth Federation has broken the Antarctic Treaty. Post 1 Year War, the Antarctic Treaty is defunct, but because Delaz doesn't recognize the end of the 1 Year War, he says that the treaty has been broken. He is essentially saying that because the Fedis built the GP02, a mobile suit with nuclear weapons, then he must also resort to nukes. Weird logic on Delaz's side. Even though Delaz is declaring war on Earth, this message seems to be broadcast to other Zeon remnants out there. He wants any remaining soldiers of Zeon to join Operation Stardust. Keith and Ko engage with some Gelgoog Marines. The MS-14F Gelgoog Marine was developed from the Gelgoog High Mobility type. It has an external propellant tank which extends its operating range greatly. Its arm-mounted propulsion was removed as it was useless in space. Ko goes to launch, but decides to go in the GP01 and uses the algorithm. Nina tries to give him a different algorithm, but he ignores her. Monsha fights with Chima, who is piloting the Gelgoog Marine Commander type. The MS-14FS Gelgoog Marine Commander type has a 40mm Vulcan gun and an antenna to show its commander role. It also uses the MRB-110 beam rifle, which was originally used on the MS-14G Gelgoog Jaeger. Ko launches in the GP01. He takes out one of the Gelgoogs, but his balancer is off, and Ko starts getting wrecked. Luckily, Burning breaks out of his cast and surprisingly comes to destroy a Gelgoog, helping Ko. Chima and the fleet retreats. Ko attempts to land the GP01 on the Albion, but he is bleeding out. His landing destroys one of the legs of the Gundam. Nina is upset that she allowed Ko to pilot the Gundam with that algorithm. The Albion begins heading towards Von Braun on the moon. Once they land, Nina runs into her colleagues at Anaheim Electronics. They need to get the GP01 running and space ready in 2 days. Meanwhile, the boys get drunk while on shore leave. Ko runs out after confronting Monsha. Ko is very upset with the destruction of the GP01. After getting beat up, he passes out and wakes up in a junkyard. It is here that we meet the man who saved him, Kelly Leisner. Kelly is a one-armed man who fought for Zeon during the 1 Year War. He now lives in Von Braun as a junker. Kelly thinks that Ko is a deserter. Ko spots inside Kelly's hangar a Val Wallo. The Val Wallo is a mobile armor based off the Begro, which we saw White Base and Papa Gundam go up against. Only 3 were built late during the war, and only saw combat at Abawaku. We are most likely looking at the only surviving Val Wallo. Ko and Kelly fix up the mobile armor. Meanwhile, some of the crew go looking for Ko. Kelly's girlfriend gets mad at Ko for getting Kelly excited about the mobile suits, as he used to be a pilot. Later, Ko sees Kelly talking to a mysterious woman. This woman happens to be Chima, who snuck onto Von Braun earlier. Kelly shows Chima the mobile armor. It seems that Kelly is fixing up the Val Wallo to help with the Delaz Fleet. Ko confronts Kelly and they begin to fight. Ko leaves the junkyard. While walking away, he runs into Nina. They have a conversation. Ko decides to return to the ship, but he goes back to Kelly first. He tells Kelly that he understands he will always be a mobile suit pilot, and so will Kelly. Being a technician isn't enough for either of them. They finish fixing the Valwallow. Ko leaves, knowing that the next time that he sees Kelly, it will be as enemies. Back at the Von Braun labs, Ko tests out the new upgrades for the Gundam, referred to now as the Gundam Zephyranthes Full Burnern. The RX-78GP01-Fb Gundam Zephyranthes Full Burnern was simply supposed to be an upgrade, but because it was badly damaged, it received an overhaul in design. Its legs were installed with large propellant tanks, which would go on to inspire the design of the Zeta Gundam. It also has an upgraded Core Fighter II, which we will talk about next time. Many of the upgrades to its space combat technically aren't upgrades, but components that should have been installed onto the GP01 from the start. But since Gato stole the GP02, it changed the plans of the GP01. The Albion crew marvels at Ko as he tests the new unit. And that will do it for this video. We are starting to learn more about other Zeon remnants out there in the world. We also see Delaz make another step towards Operation Stardust. There are some very big leaps in logic to jumpstart the plot in these episodes, such as the weird logic Delaz uses to justify using nuclear weapons, as well as the conflict between Ko and Nina that initially gets the GPO wrecked. It's kind of like they really want to drop something big. In our next episode, we will see the Valwallow mobile armor in action. We will see the introduction of a new class of battleships for the Feddies. And does Gato finally have the balls to fire the GPO-2's nuclear weapon? We shall find out next time. Until then, new types, find yourself someone as loyal as Commander Bitter is for Anavel Gato. Peace.